In February 1978, 5 young men attended a college basketball game in Chico, California, and vanished. For decades, the official police narrative has remained the same. They got lost in the snow, wandered into the woods, and died from exposure. The victims, Jack Madruga, Bill Sterling, Ted Weaver, Jackie Hewitt, and Gary Mathias, all lived with varying degrees of mild intellectual disabilities and psychiatric conditions. The public largely accepted that the group simply panicked and made a series of fatal mistakes. But in 2019, an internal memorandum from the Yuba County Sheriff's Office surfaced. It explicitly classifies Gary Mathias as a victim of foul play. The document includes a specific instruction. It is in the best interest of all involved that this letter not be forwarded to Mathias's family. If the deaths of these 5 men were truly an accidental tragedy in the snow, the question remains, why did local law enforcement issue a secret homicide memo 40 years later and order it hidden from the victims' families? The geography of the disappearance is the first contradiction. To get home from Chico, the men needed to drive directly south to Yuba City. Instead, their car was found 70 miles in the wrong direction on an unpaved road in the Plumas National Forest. Investigators found the 1969 Mercury Montego sitting right at the snowline. The car wasn't actually stuck. It had a quarter tank of gas, and when deputies hot-wired the ignition, it started immediately. The scene inside was equally strange. The keys were gone, the driver's side window was rolled down in a blizzard, and despite driving miles up a rocky, unlit road, the car's undercarriage was completely pristine. Successfully driving the specific road required avoiding every deep rut and large rock while navigating in the dark. The lack of damage to the car suggests the driver was operating with extreme care. As the spring snow melted, motorcyclists riding 19 miles further up the mountain discovered a U.S. Forest Service trailer. Inside, they found the body of Ted Weir. Weir's physical state provided a grim timeline for his survival. He lost nearly 100 pounds and grew a full beard, indicating he lived inside that freezing trailer for roughly 8 to 13 weeks. His starvation is difficult to reconcile with the resources in the room. Weir was surrounded by heavy propane heating equipment that was never turned on, and a storage locker packed with military sea rations that he never attempted to open. He was found tightly tucked into 8 sheets, as if someone else had cared for him. Nearby, investigators found Gary Mathias's sneakers, but Mathias had vanished, and his remains were never recovered. A witness named Joseph Shones later told police he was stranded on that same road the night of the disappearance. He saw a group of people near a set of headlights, but when he called out for help, they went silent, turned off their lights, and ignored him. The physical evidence suggests the men were coerced into the wilderness. Once there, their cognitive disabilities may have left them unable to solve survival problems, leading them to die from exposure while surrounded by the very tools that could have saved their lives. The failures in the woods were matched by the failures in the autopsy room. In 1978, coroners bypassed standard forensic procedures. They failed to perform toxicology screenings, took no tissue samples for histology, and did not X-ray the remains for fractures. These omissions permanently restricted the investigation. Without those basic tests, the county lost any chance of finding physical proof of assault, drugging, or third-party interference. Investigators also failed to pursue potential leads, including Gary Dale Whiteley, Mathias's brother-in-law. Whiteley had a documented history of violence and allegedly confessed in public to killing mentally disabled men in those hills. Transparency also suffered. The original physical case files were officially destroyed in 2019. This destruction occurred mere months after California passed SB 1421, a law that legally mandated the public disclosure of police records. Law enforcement emphasized the victims' intellectual disabilities, promoting a narrative of slow boys whose own poor decisions led to their deaths. The Yuba County Five remains a documented instance of institutional failure. It reveals how an official narrative can settle on a conclusion while dismissing the lives of those it was meant to protect.